Revelation chapter 1. A revelation from Yahshua Christ which Yahweh had given to him to show to his servants the things which are necessary to happen quickly. And he having sent explained through his messenger to his servant Iohannes, who bore witness to the word of Yahweh and the testimony of Yahshua Christ, as many things as he had seen. Blessed is he reading, and those hearing the words of the prophecy, and keeping the things written in it, for the time is near. Iohannes, to the 7 assemblies which are in Asia, favor and peace to you, he who is and who was, and who is coming, and from the 7 spirits which are before his throne, and from Yahshua Christ, the witness, the faithful one, the firstborn from the dead, and he ruling the kings of the earth. To he who loves us, and has released us from our errors with his blood, and has made us a kingdom, priests to Yahweh, even his Father. To him is the honor and the sovereignty for the eternal ages. Truly, behold, he comes with the clouds, and every eye shall see him, even whoever had pierced him. And all the tribes of the earth shall mourn. Yeah, truly, I am the Alpha and the Omega, says Yahweh God, he who is and who was and who is coming, the Almighty. Iohannes, Io brother, and fellow companion in the tribulation and kingdom and endurance in Yahshua, was on the island called Patmos on account of the word of Yahweh and the testimony of Yahshua. I was in the Spirit on the day of the Prince, and heard a great voice behind me, like a trumpet, saying, That which you see write in a book, and send to the 7 assemblies, to Ephesus, and to Smyrna, and to Pergamos, and to Thyatira, and to Sardis, and to Philadelphia, and to Laodicea. And I turned to see the voice which spoke with me, and turning I saw 7 golden lampstands, and in the midst of the lampstands one like a son of man, clothed down to the feet and girt with a golden belt to the breasts. Now his head and hairs white as wool, white as snow, and his eyes as flames of fire, and his feet like fine brass, as if having been burned in a furnace, and his voice as a voice of many waters, and having in his right hand 7 stars, and coming out from his mouth a sharp-edged sword, and his eyes like the sun shines in its power. And when I saw him, I fell to his feet dead. And he placed his right hand upon me. Fear not. I am the first and the last, and he who lives, and was dead, and behold, I live for the eternal ages, and I have the keys of death and of Hades. Therefore write the things which you see, and the things which are, and the things which are going to happen after these. The mystery of the 7 stars, which you see in my right hand, and the 7 golden lampstands. The 7 stars are messengers of the 7 assemblies, and the 7 lampstands are 7 assemblies. Chapter 2. For the messenger of the assembly in Ephesus. Thus says he, commanding the 7 stars in his right hand, he walking in the midst of the 7 golden lampstands. I know your works and your toil and patience, and that you are not able to bear evils, and have tried those calling themselves ambassadors, yet they are not. And you have found them liars, and you have patience, and have endured on account of my name, and have not grown weary. But I hold against you that you have left your first love. Therefore remember from where you have fallen, and repent, and do these first works. But I shall come to you, and I shall remove your lampstand from its place, if you should not repent. This other thing you have, that you hate the works of the sepulchres, which I also hate. He having an ear must hear what the Spirit says to the assemblies. To he who prevails I shall give to him to eat from the tree of life, which is in the paradise of Yahweh. And to the messenger of the assembly in Smyrna, write, Thus says the first and the last, he who was dead and lives. I know your works and tribulation and poverty, but you are wealthy, and the blasphemy from those saying for themselves to be Judeans, and they are not, but are a congregation of the adversary. Do not fear the things which you are going to suffer. Behold, the false accuser is going to cast some from among you into prison, that you may be tried, and you shall have tribulation for 10 days. You must be faithful until death, and I shall give to you the prize of life. He having an ear must hear what the Spirit says. He who prevails shall not be harmed by the second death. And to the messenger of the assembly in Pergamos, thus says he having the sharp two-edged sword, I know where you dwell, where the throne of the adversary is, and you possess my name, and you did not deny my faith, even in the days of Antipas my witness, my faithful one, who was slain before you, where the adversary dwells. But I have a few things against you, because have there those holding the teaching of Balaam, who had taught Balak, put a trap before the sons of Israel, to eat things sacrificed to idols, and to commit fornication. Thusly you have also those holding the teaching of the people conquerors in like manner. Therefore repent. But if not, I will come to you quickly, and I shall make war with them by the sword of my mouth. He having an ear must hear what the Spirit says to the assemblies. To he who prevails, I shall give to him the hidden manna, and I shall give to him a white stone, and written upon the stone a new name, which no one knows except he receiving. And to the messenger of the assembly in Thuatira, write, Thus says the Son of Yahweh, he having his eyes as flames of fire, and his feet like fine brass. I know your works, and your love, and faith, and righteousness, and patience, and your last works are greater than the first. But I have against you that you allow that woman Isabel, who calls herself a prophetess, and teaches and deceives my servants to commit fornication, and to eat things sacrificed to idols. And I have given her time, in order that she would repent, yet she did not wish to repent from her fornication. Behold, I cast her into a bed, and those committing adultery with her into great tribulation, if they do not repent from her works. And I shall slay her children with death, and all of the assembly shall know that I am he who examines and hearts, and I shall give to each according to your works. Now I say to you for the rest of those in Thua, as many who do not have this teaching, whoever has known the depths of the adversary as they speak, I do not cast upon you another burden, but hold fast that which you have until when I should come. Now he who prevails, and who keeps my works until the end, I shall give to him authority over the nations, and he shall shepherd them with an iron staff, as it breaks ceramic vessels, as I also have received from my Father. And I shall give to him the morning star. He having an ear must hear what the Spirit says to the assembly. Chapter 3. Messenger of the assembly in Sardis, write. Thus says he having the 7 spirits of Yahweh, and the 7 stars, I know your works, that you have a name that you may live, and you are dead. You must be alert, and establish the remaining things which were about to die, for I have not found your works completed before my God. Therefore remember how you have received, and have heard, and keep and repent. Then if you should not be alert, I shall come as a thief, and you may not know what hour I shall come upon you. But you have a few names in Sardis, which have not soiled their garments, and they shall walk with me in white, because they are worthy. He who prevails thusly shall be cloaked in white garments, and his name shall not be wiped out of the book of life, and I shall profess his name before my Father, and before his messengers. He having an ear must hear what the Spirit says to the assemblies. And to the messenger of the assembly in Philadelphia, write. Thus says the Holy One, the truthful one, he having the key of David, he opening and no one shall close, and closing then no opens. I know your works. Behold, I gave before you a door having been opened, which no one is able to close it, because a little strength, and have kept my word, and have not denied my name. Behold, I shall give those from of the congregation of the adversary, saying for themselves to be Judeans, and they are not, but they are liars. Behold, I shall make them that they shall come, and they shall worship before your feet, and they may know that I have loved you. Because you have kept my word with patience, I also shall keep you from the hour of trial, about to come upon the whole inhabited earth, to test those dwelling upon the earth. I come quickly. Hold fast that which you have, that no one may take your reward. He who prevails, I shall make him a pillar in the temple of my God, that he would no longer go outside. And I shall write upon the name of my God, and the name of the city of my God, of the new Jerusalem, which descends from heaven from my God, and my new name. He having an ear must hear what the Spirit says to the assemblies. And to the messenger of the assembly in Laodicea write, Thus says the sure one, the faithful and truthful witness, the beginning of the creation of Yahweh. I know your works, that you are neither cold nor hot. I would be obliged you were cold or hot. Because you are lukewarm and neither hot nor cold, I am going to vomit you out of my mouth. Because you say that I am rich and I have become wealthy, and I have need of nothing, and you do not know that you are miserable and pitiful and poor and blind and naked. I advise you from me gold refined by fire, in order that you would be wealthy, and white garments in order that you would be cloaked, and the shame of your nakedness not be manifest, and eye salve to anoint your eyes, in order that you may see. I as many as I should love I censure and I discipline. Therefore be zealous and repent. Behold, I stand at the door and knock. If one should hear my voice and open the door, then I shall enter into him, and I shall dine with him, and he with me. He who prevails I shall give to him to sit with me on my throne, as I also have prevailed, and I have sat with my Father on his throne. He having an ear must hear what the Spirit says to the assemblies. Chapter 4. After these things I looked, and behold, a door being opened in heaven, and the first voice which I had heard as a trumpet speaking with me, saying, Come up here, and I shall show to you the things which are necessary to happen. After these things immediately I was in the Spirit, and behold, a throne fixed in heaven, and he sitting upon the throne. And he sitting alike in appearance to a jasper stone, and a sardius, and a rainbow around the throne alike in appearance to emerald. And around the throne 24 thrones, and upon the thrones 24 elders sitting, cloaked in white garments, and upon their heads gold crowns. And going out from the throne stars and voices and thunders, and 7 lamps of fire burning before the throne, which are the 7 spirits of Yahweh, and before the throne as a sea of glass like crystal. And in the midst of the throne, and around the throne 4 living creatures, full of eyes in front and behind. And the first living creature like a lion, and the second living creature like a young bull, and the third living creature having a face as a man, and the fourth living creature like a flying eagle, and the 4 living creatures, each one of them having 6 wings above, full of eyes all around and within, and they do not have rest, day and night, saying, Holy, 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 Prince Yahweh Almighty, who was and who is coming. And whenever the living creatures give honor and dignity, gratitude to him sitting upon the throne, to he who lives for the eternal ages, the 24 elders fall before him sitting upon the throne, and they worship he who lives for the eternal ages, and they cast their crowns before the throne, saying, You are worthy, our Prince and God, to receive honor, and dignity and power. Because you have created all things, and by your will were they then created. Chapter 5. And I saw at the right hand of him sitting upon the throne a scroll, written on the inside and on the back, having been sealed with 7 seals. And I saw a mighty messenger proclaiming with a great voice, Who is worthy to open the scroll and to loosen its 7 seals? And no one was able in heaven, nor upon the earth, nor under the earth, to open the scroll, or to see it. And I wept much, because no one is found worthy to open the scroll or to see it. And one from among the elders says to me, Weep not. Behold, the Lion of the tribe of Judah, the root of David, has prevailed to open the scroll and its 7 seals. And I saw in the midst of the throne and of the 4 living creatures, and in the midst of the elders, a lamb standing as if having been slaughtered, having 7 horns and 7 eyes, which are the 7 spirits of Yahweh, having been sent out into all the earth. And he came and received it from the right hand of sitting upon the throne. And when he received the scroll, the 4 living creatures and the 24 elders fell before the Lamb, each having a lyre and golden bowls full of incense, which are the prayers of the saints, and they sang a new song. You are worthy to receive the scroll and to open its 7 seals, because you have been slaughtered, and you have purchased for Yahweh with your blood out of each tribe and tongue and people and nation, and have made them a kingdom and priests for our God, and they shall rule over the earth. And I looked and heard a sound of many messengers around the throne, of the living creatures and of the elders, and the number of them was 10,000s of 10,000s, and thousands of thousands, saying with a great voice, Worthy is the Lamb which had been slaughtered to receive power and wealth and wisdom and strength and dignity and honor and praise. And every creature which is in heaven and upon the earth and under the earth and upon the sea, and the things in them all heard, saying, To him sitting upon the throne, and to the Lamb is the praise, and the dignity, and the honor, and the sovereignty for the eternal ages. And the 4 living creatures said, Truly. And the elders fell down, and they worshipped. Chapter 6. Then I saw when the Lamb opened one of the 7 seals, and I heard one of the 4 living creatures saying with a voice like thunder, Come. And I saw, and behold, a white horse, and he sitting upon it having a bow, and a crown has been given to him. And he went out conquering, and that he may conquer. And when he opened the 2nd seal, I heard the 2nd living creature saying, Come. And there went out another, a red horse, and to him sitting upon it, it has been given to him to take peace from the earth, and that they slay one another. And a great sword has been given to him. And when he opened the 3rd seal, I heard the living creature saying, Come. And I saw, and behold, a black horse, and he sitting upon it having a scale in his hand. And I heard like a voice in the midst of the 4 living creatures, saying, A quart of wheat for a denarian, and 3 quarts of barley for a denarian. And you should not deal unrighteously with the olive oil and the wine. And when he opened the 4th seal, I heard a voice from the 4th living creature, saying, Come. And I saw, and behold, a green horse, and he sitting upon it. His name is Death, and Hades follows after him. And authority over the 4th part of the earth has given to them to kill by the sword, and with famine, and with death, and by the beasts of the earth. And when he opened the 5th seal, I saw beneath the altar the souls, who had been slain on account of the word of Yahweh, and on account of the testimony which they had. And they cried out with a great voice, saying, How long, holy and true Master, do you not judge and exact vengeance for our blood from those dwelling upon the earth? And there had been given to each of them a white robe, and spoken to them, that they should rest for a little while until they should be satisfied, and their fellow servants and their brethren, who are also going to be killed like them. And I saw when he opened the 6th seal, and there happened a great earthquake, and the sun became black as a sackcloth of hair, and the whole moon became as blood, and the stars of heaven fell to the earth, as a fig tree shaken by a great wind casts its unripened figs. And the heaven departed as a scroll being rolled, and every mountain and island had been moved from their places. And the kings of the earth, and the great men, and the commanders, and the wealthy men, and the powerful men, and every slave and free man hid themselves in the caves, and in the rocks of the mountains, and they say to the mountains, and to the rocks, Fall upon us, and hide us from the face of him, sitting upon the throne, and from the wrath of the Lamb, because the great day of their wrath has come, and who is able to stand? Chapter 7. After this, I saw 4 messengers standing upon the 4 corners of the earth, holding the 4 winds of the earth, that a wind would not blow upon the earth, nor upon the sea, nor upon any tree. And I saw another messenger ascending from the rising of the sun, having the seal of Yahweh who lives. And he cried out with a great voice to the 4 messengers. It had been given to do wrong to the earth and the sea, saying, Do not do wrong to the earth, nor to the sea, nor to the trees, until we should seal the servants of our God upon their foreheads. And I heard the number of those being sealed, 144,000, being sealed out of all the tribes of the sons of Israel. From the tribe of out of 12,000 being sealed, from the tribe of Reuben 12,000, from the tribe of Gad 12,000, from the tribe of Aser 12,000, from the tribe of Nephthalim 12,000, from the tribe of Manasseh 12,000, from the tribe of Simeon 12,000, from the tribe of Levi 12,000, from the tribe Issachar 12,000, from the tribe of Zabulon 12,000, from the tribe of Ioseph 12,000, from the tribe of Benjamin 12,000, being sealed. After things I looked, and behold, a great crowd, which to number it no one was able, from all nations and tribes, and peoples, and tongues, standing before the throne, and before the Lamb, having been cloaked in white robes and palm branches in their hands, and they cry out in a great voice, saying, Salvation is with our God sitting upon the throne and with the Lamb. And all the messengers stood around the throne, and those of the elders, and the 4 living creatures also fell on their faces before the throne, and they worshipped Yahweh, saying, Truly, praise, and the honor, and the wisdom, and the gratitude, and the dignity, and the power, and the might are for our God for the eternal ages, truly. And one from among the elders responded, saying to me, These who are cloaked in white robes, who are they, and from where have they come? And I said to him, Mard, you know. And he said to me, These they coming from out of the great tribulation, and they have washed their robes, and have whitened them in the blood of the Lamb. For this reason they are before the throne of Yahweh, and they serve him day and night in his temple. And he sitting upon the throne shall tabernacle with them. They shall hunger no longer, nor shall they thirst any longer, nor shall the sun fall upon them, nor any burning heat, because the Lamb who is in the midst of the throne shall shepherd them, and shall guide them to fountains of living waters, and Yah wipe every tear from their eyes. Chapter 8. And when he opened the 7th seal, there was silence in heaven for about half an hour. And I saw 7 messengers who stood before Yahweh, and they had given to them 7 trumpets. And another messenger having a golden censer came, and stood upon the altar, and much incense had been given to him, that he may offer it with the prayers of all the saints upon the golden altar before the throne. And the smoke of the incense with the prayers of the saints ascended from the hand of the messenger before Yahweh. And the messenger took the censer, and filled it from of the fire of the altar, and cast it into the earth. And there were thunders, and noises, and lightnings, and an earthquake. And the 7 messengers, who having the 7 trumpets, prepared them in order that they may sound. And the first sounded the trumpet, and their hailstones mixed with blood, and it had been cast into the earth. And a third of the earth had been burnt, and a third of the trees had burnt, and all the green grass had been burnt. And the second messenger sounded the trumpet, and thus a great mountain burning with fire had been cast into the sea. And a third of the sea became blood, and a third of those creatures having souls of those in the sea died, and a third of the ships had been destroyed. And the third messenger sounded the trumpet, and a great star fell from heaven, burning as a lamp. And it fell upon a third of the rivers and upon the springs of waters, and the name of the star is called Wormwood. And a third of the waters came to be wormwood, and many of the men died from the waters, because they had been made bitter. And the fourth messenger sounded the trumpet, and a third of the sun had been struck, and a third of the moon, and a third of the stars, that a third of them had become darkened, and the day did not shine for a third part of it, and likewise the night. And I saw and heard one eagle flying in mid-air with a great voice. Woe, woe, woe for those dwelling upon the earth from the rest of the sounds of the trumpets of the three messengers who are about to sound. Chapter 9. And the fifth angel sounded the trumpet, and I saw a star from heaven, fallen to earth, and to him had been given the key of the bottomless pit. And he opened the bottomless pit, and smoke ascended from the pit, like the smoke of a great furnace, and the sun and the air become darkened from the smoke of the pit. And from the smoke locusts came out into the earth, and authority had been given to them, like the scorpions of the earth have authority. And it had been spoken to them in order that they do not injure the grass of the earth, nor any green thing, nor any tree, except those men who do not have the seal of Yahweh upon their foreheads. And it had been given to them that they should not kill them, but that they shall be tested for 5 months, and their torment is as the torment of a scorpion when it strikes a man. And in those days men shall seek death, yet they shall not find it, and they shall desire to die, yet death flees from them. And the likenesses of the locusts are like horses having been prepared for war, and upon their heads as crowns like gold, and their faces as faces of men, and they had hair as hair of women, and their teeth were as of lions, and they had breastplates as breastplates of iron, and the sound of their wings as a sound of many chariot teams of horses running into battle. And they had tails and stingers like scorpions, and their power in their tails to injure men for 5 months. They have over them a king, the messenger of the bottomless pit, whose name in Hebrew is Abaddon, but in Greek he has a name, Destroyer. One woe has departed. Behold, there come yet 2 woes after these things. And the sixth messenger sounded the trumpet, and I heard one voice from the 4 horns of the golden altar before Yahweh, saying to the sixth messenger, he having the trumpet, Release the 4 messengers who are bound by the great river Euphrates. And the 4 messengers had been released, who had been prepared for that hour and day and month and year, that they should kill a third of the men. And the number of the armies of the horsemen is 200 million. I heard the number of them, and thus I saw the horses in the vision, and those sitting upon them, having fiery red and hyacinth and yellow breastplates, and the heads of the horses as heads of lions, and from their mouths came out fire and smoke and sulfur. From these 3 plagues a third of the men had been killed, from the fire and from the smoke, and from the sulfur coming out from their mouths. For the power of the horses is in their mouths and in their tails, and their tails like serpents, having heads, and with them they injure. And the rest of the men, those who had not been killed by these plagues, did not even repent from the works of their hands, that they do not worship demons and idols, things of gold, and things of silver, and things of copper, and things of stone, and things of wood, things which are able neither to see, nor to walk. And they did not repent from their murders, from their drugs, nor from their fornication, nor from thefts. Chapter 10. And I saw another mighty messenger descending from heaven, cloaked in a cloud, and a rainbow upon his head, and his face like the sun, and his feet like pillars of fire, and holding in his hand a small book having been opened. And he set his right foot upon the sea, then the left upon the land, cried out a great voice, just as a lion roars. And when he cried out, the 7 thunders uttered their voices. And when the 7 thunders uttered, I was about to write. And I heard a voice from out of heaven, I have sealed the things which the 7 thunders have uttered, and you should not write these things. And the messenger, whom I saw standing upon the sea and upon the earth, raised his right hand to heaven, and swore by he who lives for the eternal ages, who created the heaven, and the things in it, and the earth, and the things in it, and the sea, and the things in it, that there shall no longer be delay, but in the days of the sound of the 7th messenger, when he is about to sound the trumpet, then the mystery of Yahweh is completed. He had announced by his servants the prophets. And the voice which I heard from out of heaven speaks with me again, and says, Go take the book, which is opened in the hand of the messenger, who is standing upon the sea and upon the land. And I went to the messenger, saying to him, Give to me the small book. And he says to me, Take and eat it, and your belly shall be bitter, but in your mouth it shall be sweet as honey. And I took the small book from the hand of the messenger, and I devoured it, and it was in my mouth as sweet honey, and when I ate it, my belly had become bitter. Then they say to me, It is necessary for you to prophesy again concerning many people, and nations, and tongues, and kings. Chapter 11. And he had given to me a reed like a staff, saying, Arise, and measure the temple of Yahweh, and the altar, and those worshipping at it, and the court outside the temple leave out, that you should not measure it, because it has been given to the heathens, and the holy city they shall trample, for 42 months. And I shall give to my 2 witnesses, that they shall prophesy 1,260 days, cloaked in sackcloth. These are the 2 olive trees and the 2 lampstands, which are standing before the sovereign of the earth. And if one wishes to harm them, fire proceeds from their mouths, and devours their enemies. And if one should wish to harm them, thusly is it necessary for him to die. They have the authority to shut heaven, in order that water would not rain in the days of their prophecy, and they have authority over the waters, to turn them into blood, and to smite the earth with every calamity as often as they should desire. And when their testimony should be completed, the beast which ascends from out of the bottomless pit shall make war with them, and shall conquer them, and shall slay them. And their bodies upon the streets of the great city, which is called spiritually Sodom and Egypt. Also their prince has been crucified, and those from among the peoples, and tribes, and tongues, and nations shall see their bodies for 3.5 days. They do not allow their bodies to be buried in a tomb, and those dwelling upon the earth rejoice, and they delight, and they shall send gifts to one another, because 2 prophets had tormented those dwelling upon the earth. And after the 3.5 days a spirit of life entered into them, and they stood upon their feet, and great fear had fallen upon those watching them. And I heard a great voice from out of heaven saying to them, Come up here. And they ascended into heaven in a cloud, and their enemies watched them. And at that hour there was a great earthquake, and 1/10 the city fell, and there had died in the earthquake 7,000 names of men. And those who remained became terrified and gave honor to the God of heaven. The second woe has departed. Behold, the third woe comes quickly. And the 7th messenger sounded the trumpet. And there were great voices in heaven saying, Kingdom of the society of our prince and of his anointed has come. And he shall rule for the eternal ages. And the 24 elders who are sitting on their thrones before Yahweh fell upon their faces, and worshipped Yahweh, saying, We thank you, Prince Yahweh the Almighty, he who is and who was, because you have taken your great power, and you have reigned. And the heathens had been angry, yet your anger has come, and the time to judge of the dead, and to give the reward to your servants the prophets, and to the saints and to those who fear your name, to the small ones and to the great ones, and to destroy those destroying the earth. And the temple of Yahweh, who is in heaven, opened, and the ark of his covenant is seen in his temple. And there were lightnings and noises and thunders, and an earthquake, and a great hailstorm. Chapter 12. And a great sign appeared in heaven, a woman cloaked with the sun, and the moon beneath her feet, and upon her head a crown of 12 stars. And she conceiving in the womb then cries out travailing, and being in distress to give birth. And another sign appeared in heaven, and behold, a great red dragon, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and upon his heads 7 diadems, and his tail sweeps away 1/3 of the stars of heaven, and casts them into the earth. And the dragon stood before the woman who was about to give birth, in order that when she should give birth he may devour her child. And she bore a man-child, he who is going to shepherd all the nations with an iron staff. And her child was carried up to Yahweh and to his throne. And the woman fled into the desert, where she has there a place having prepared from Yahweh, in order that there they may nourish her for 1,260 days. And there was a war in heaven, Michael and his messengers fighting with the dragon. And the dragon fought, and his messengers, and they did not prevail, nor was their place found any longer in heaven. And the great dragon had been cast down, that serpent of old, who is called the false accuser and the adversary. He who deceives the whole inhabited earth had cast into the earth, and his messengers had been cast down with him. And I heard a great voice saying, Now the salvation and the power and the kingdom of our God has come, and the authority of his anointed, because the accuser of our brethren has been cast down, he accusing them before our God day and night. And they prevailed over him by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony, and they had not loved their lives even to death. For this reason rejoice, heavens and those dwelling in them. Woe to the earth and the sea, because the false accuser has come down to you having great wrath, knowing that he has a short time. And when the dragon saw that he had been cast down into the earth, he persecuted the woman who had given birth to the man-child. And they had given to the woman the 2 wings of a great eagle, in order that she may fly into the desert into her place, where she is nourished there for a time and times and half of a time from the face of the serpent. And the serpent had cast from his mouth water, as a river after the woman, in order that he may have her carried off by the river. And the earth assisted the woman, and the earth opened its mouth and gulped down the river, which the dragon had cast from his mouth. And the dragon was angered by the woman, and went to make war with those remaining, her offspring, keep of Yahweh, and have the testimony of Yahshua. And he stood upon the sand of the sea. Chapter 13. And I saw a beast ascending from out of the sea, having 10 horns and 7 heads, and upon its horns 10 diadems, and upon its heads a name of blasphemy. And the beast which I saw was like a leopard, and its feet as a bear's, and its mouth as a lion's mouth. And the dragon had given to it his power and his throne and great authority. And one from among its heads, as if having been slaughtered unto death, yet the wound of its death had been healed. And the whole earth marveled after the beast, and they worshipped the dragon, because he had given authority to the beast. And they worshipped the beast, saying, Who is like the beast, and who is able to make war with it? And there had been given to it a mouth speaking great things and blasphemies, and there had been given to act for 42 months. And it opened its mouth in blasphemies towards Yahweh, to blaspheme his name and his tabernacle, those dwelling in heaven, And there had been given to it to make war with the saints, and to overcome them, and authority had been given to it over every tribe and people and tongue and nation. And all those dwelling upon the earth worshipped, of whom their names are not written in the book of life of the Lamb, who had been slaughtered from the foundation of society. If one has an ear, he must hear. If one is for captivity, into captivity he goes. If one is to be slain by the sword, he is to be slain by the sword. Thus is the patience and the faith of the saints. And I saw another beast ascending from out of the earth, and it had 2 horns like a lamb, and spoke as a dragon. And all the authority of the first beast it practices in his presence. And it makes the earth, and those dwelling in it, that they shall worship the first beast, who had been healed from the wound of its death. And he shall make a great sign, that even fire would be made from heaven to descend to earth before men. And he would deceive those dwelling upon the earth through the signs which have been given to him to make in the presence of the beast, saying to dwelling upon the earth to make an image for the beast who has the wound of the sword, and has lived. And there had been given to him to give a spirit to the image of the beast, in order that the image of the beast may also speak, and may make it that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be slain. And it makes all, those who are small, and those who are great, and those who are wealthy, and those who are poor, and those who are free, and those who are slaves, that they have given to them an engraved mark upon their right hand, or upon their forehead, and in order that one would not be able to buy, or to sell, if he has not the mark, the name of the beast, or the number of his name. Thus is wisdom. He having a mind must calculate the number of the beast, for it is the number of him, and his number is 666. Chapter 14. And I looked, and behold, the Lamb stood upon Mount Sion, and with him 144,000 having his name, and the name of his Father, written upon their foreheads. And I heard a sound from out of heaven, like a sound of many waters, and like a sound of great thunder, and the sound which I heard like lyre players playing on their lyres. And they sang a new song before the throne, and before the 4 living creatures and the elders, and no one was able to learn the song except the 144,000, those having been purchased from the earth. These are they who have not been defiled with women, for they are virgins. These are they who follow the Lamb wherever he should go. These have been purchased from among men, a first fruit for Yahweh, and for the Lamb, and in their mouths a lie is not found. They are blameless. And I saw another messenger flying in mid-air, having an eternal good message to announce before those sitting upon the earth, and before every nation and tribe and tongue and people, saying with a great voice, You must fear Yahweh, and you must give honor to him, because the hour of his judgment has come, and you must worship, who has made the heaven, and the earth, and the sea, and springs of water. And another, second messenger followed, saying, Babylon the great has fallen, she who has made all the nations drink from the wine of the passion of her fornication. And another, third messenger followed them, saying with a great voice, If one worships the beast, and its image leaves an engraved mark upon his forehead or upon his hand, then he shall drink from the wine of the wrath of Yahweh, which is poured unmixed into the cup of his anger. And he shall be tormented in fire and sulfur before the holy messengers, and before the Lamb. And the smoke of their torment ascends for eternal ages. And they who worship the beast and its image, and one receives the engraved mark its name, shall not have rest day and night. Thus is the patience of the saints, they keeping the commandments of Yahweh and the faith of Yahshua. And I heard a voice from out of heaven, saying, Write, blessed are those dead among the number of the prince, who are dying from now on. Yeah, says the Spirit, that they shall have rest from their labors, for their works follow with them. And I looked, and behold, a white cloud. And he sitting upon the cloud like a son of man, having upon his head a gold crown, and in his hand a sharp scythe. And another messenger came out from the temple crying out, with a great voice to him sitting upon the cloud, Swing your scythe and reap, because the hour to reap has come, because parched is the harvest of the earth. And he sitting upon the cloud cast his scythe upon the earth and harvested the earth. And another messenger came out from the temple, which is heaven, he also having a sharp scythe. And another messenger came out from the altar, he having authority over the fire, and uttered with a great voice to him having the sharp scythe, saying, Swing your sharp scythe, and gather the clusters of the vine of the earth, because ripe are her grapes. And a messenger cast scythe to the earth, and gathered the vine of the earth, and cast it into the great wine vat of the wrath of Yahweh. And the wine vat was trampled outside of the city, and blood came out from the wine vat, as high as the bridles of horses, for 1,600 stades. Chapter 15. And I saw another sign in heaven, great and wondrous, 7 messengers having the 7 last plagues, that in them the wrath of Yahweh is fulfilled. And I saw like a glass sea mixed with fire, and those prevailing from the beast, and from his image, and from the number of his name, standing upon the glass sea holding lyres from Yahweh. And they sing the song of Moses, the servant of Yahweh, and the song of the Lamb, saying, Your works are great and wonderful, Prince Yahweh Almighty. Your ways are righteous and true, King of the nations. Who should not be afraid, Prince, and honor your name, because you are the only Holy One, because all the nations shall come, and they shall worship before you, because your judgments have been made manifest. And after these things I looked, and the temple of the tabernacle of testimony opened in heaven, and the 7 messengers having the 7 plagues came out from the temple, clothed in clean bright linen and girt about the chest with gold belts. And one from among the 4 living creatures had given to the 7 messengers 7 gold bowls with the wrath of Yahweh, who lives for the eternal ages. And the temple filled with smoke from the effulgence of Yahweh and from his power, and no one was able to enter into the temple until the 7 plagues of the 7 messengers are completed. Chapter 16. And I heard a great voice from out of the temple, saying to the 7 messengers, Go, and pour out the 7 bowls of the wrath of Yahweh into the earth. And the first went out, and poured his bowl out into the earth, and there came a bad and grievous sore upon the men who have the engraved of the beast, and who worship its image. And the second poured his bowl out into the sea, and it became blood as if dead, and every soul of life died which was in the sea. And the third poured his bowl out into the rivers and the springs of the waters, and they became blood. And I heard the messenger of the waters saying, You are righteous, he who is, who was, the Holy One, because you have judged these things, because they poured out the blood of the saints and prophets. You also gave them blood to drink. They are deserving. And I heard the altar saying, Yeah, Prince Yahweh Almighty, true and righteous are your judgments. And the fourth poured his bowl out upon the sun, and had given to it to burn men with fire. And the men had been burned by great heat, and they blasphemed the name of Yahweh, who has authority, plagues, and they did not repent to give honor to him. And the fifth poured his bowl out upon the throne of the beast, and his kingdom became darkened, and they chewed their tongues from the suffering, and they blasphemed the God of heaven from their toils and their sores, yet they did not repent from their works. And the sixth poured his bowl out upon the great river Euphrates, and its waters dried, in order that the way of the kings from the rising of the sun should be prepared. And I saw from out of the mouth of the dragon, and from out of the mouth of the beast, and from out of the mouth of the false prophet, 3 unclean spirits like frogs. For they are the spirits of demons making signs, which go out to the kings of the whole inhabited earth, to gather them to the battle of the great day of Yahweh the Almighty. Behold, I come as a thief. Blessed is he being alert and keeping his garments, that he would not walk naked, and they would see his shame. And he gathered them into the place called in Hebrew Harmageddon. And the 7th poured his bowl out upon the air, and a great voice came from out of the temple from the throne, saying, It has happened. And there were lightnings and noises and thunders, and there was a great earthquake, such as had not happened from when man had come to be upon the earth was such an earthquake so great. And the great city broke into 3 parts, and the cities of the nations fell. And the great Babylon had been remembered before Yahweh, to give to her the cup of the wine of the wrath of his anger. And every island fled, and the mountains were not found. And a great hailstorm like boulders descends from out of heaven upon men, and the men blasphemed Yahweh from the plague of the hailstorm, because the plague of it is exceedingly great. Chapter 17. And among the 7 messengers having the 7 bowls came and spoke with me. Come, I shall show you the judgment of the great whore who sits upon many waters, with whom the kings of the earth have fornicated. Those inhabiting the earth have been intoxicated from the wine of her fornication. And in the spirit he brought me to a desert, and I saw a woman sitting upon a scarlet beast, filled with names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns. And the woman was clothed in purple and scarlet, and gilt in gold and precious stones and pearls, having a gold cup in her hand full of abominations and the unclean things of her fornication, and upon her forehead a name is inscribed: Mystery Babylon the Great, mother of the whores, abominations of the earth. And I saw the woman intoxicated from the blood of the saints, and from the blood of those bearing the testimony of Yahshua. And I marveled, seeing this great wonder. And the messenger said to me, For what reason do you marvel? I shall tell you the mystery, the woman, and of the beast carrying her, having the 7 heads and 10 horns. The beast which you saw was, and is not, and is going to ascend from out of the bottomless pit, and go into destruction. And those dwelling upon the earth, whose name is not written in the book of life from the foundation of society, shall marvel, seeing the beast that was, and is not, and shall be present. Thus is the mind having wisdom. The 7 heads are 7 mountains, where the woman sits upon them. And there are 7 kings. 5 have fallen, 1 is, another has not come, and when he should come it is necessary that he remains a short time. And the beast which was, and is not, even he is the 8th, and is from of the 7, and goes into destruction. The 10 horns which you saw are 10 kings, who have never received a kingdom, but they shall receive authority as kings for 1 hour with the beast. These have 1 mind and power, and they give their authority to the beast. These shall make war with the Lamb, and the Lamb shall overcome them, because he is Prince of princes and King of kings, and those with him called and chosen and faithful. And he says to me, The waters which you saw where the whore sits are people, and multitudes, and nations, and tongues. And the 10 horns which you saw, and the beast, these shall hate the whore, and they shall make her desolate and naked, and they shall eat her flesh, and they shall burn her down with fire. For Yahweh has bestowed it into their hearts to do his will, and to have 1 purpose, and to give their kingdom to the beast, until the words of Yahweh shall be accomplished. And the woman which you saw is the great city, which has dominion over the kings of the earth. Chapter 10. After these things I saw another messenger descending from heaven, having great authority, and the earth is illuminated from his effulgence. And he cried out with a mighty voice, saying, Babylon the Great has fallen, and it has become a dwelling place for demons, and a prison for every unclean spirit, and a cage for every unclean and hated bird. Because from of the wine of the passion of her fornication fell all the nations, and the kings of the earth fornicated with her, and the merchants of the earth are enriched from the power of her wantonness. And I heard another voice from out of heaven, saying, You come out from her, my people, that you should not partake in her errors, and that you would not receive from of her wounds, because her errors have built up as far as heaven, and Yahweh has called to mind her injustices. You return to her as she also had rendered, and you double twice the things according to her works. In the cup which she had mixed, you mixed double for her. As much as she had magnified herself and lived wantonly, so much you give torment and grief to her, because in her heart she says, that I sit a queen, and I am not a widow, and I have not seen grief. For this reason in one day shall her plagues come, death and grief and famine. She shall be burned with fire, because mighty is Prince Yahweh, who judges her. And the kings of the earth who had fornicated, lived wantonly with her shall weep and shall mourn over her, when they see the smoke of her burning, standing from afar on account of the fear of her torment, saying, Woe, 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 the great city, Babylon the mighty city, for in 1 hour your judgment has come. And the merchants of the earth weep and lament over her, because no one buys their cargo any longer, cargo of gold and of silver, and of precious stone, and of pearl, and of linen, and of cloths of purple, and of silk, and of scarlet, and every cedar timber, every ivory vessel, and every vessel, from of precious wood, and of copper, and of iron, and of marble, and cinnamon, and incense, and ointment, frankincense, and wine, and olive oil, and flour, and grain, and herds, and flocks, and of horses, and of carriages, and of bodies, and souls of men. And your maturity of youth, that of the desire of the soul, has departed from you, and all the rich things and the lustrous things have vanished from you, and no longer shall these things be found. The merchants of these things who are enriched from her shall stand from afar on account of the fear of her torment weeping, and lamenting they say, Woe, woe, the great city, wrapped in linen and purple and scarlet, and gilt with gold, and with precious stone, and with pearl, for in 1 hour such wealth is made desolate. And every pilot, and all who are sailing by the place, and sailors, and as many ere working the sea, stood from afar and cried out, seeing the smoke of her burning, saying, What is like the great city? And they cast dirt upon their heads, and cried out weeping and lamenting, saying, Woe, woe! In which all those having ships in the sea have been enriched from her value. For in 1 hour she is made desolate. Rejoice over her, O heaven, and saints, and ambassadors, and prophets, because Yahweh has passed the judgment of your condemnation of her. And the one mighty messenger took up a stone like a great millstone, and cast it into the sea, saying, Thusly with violence Babylon the great city is cast down, and she shall not be found hereafter. And the sound of lyrists, and poets, and flutists, and trumpeters shall not be heard in you hereafter. And every craftsman of every craft shall not be found in you hereafter. And the sound of a mill shall not be heard in you hereafter. And the light of a lamp shall not shine in you hereafter. And the voice of the bridegroom and a bride shall not be heard in you hereafter. Because your merchants were the great men of the earth, because by your pharmaceuticals have all the nations been deceived. And in her is found the blood of the prophets and saints, and all those having been slaughtered upon the earth. Chapter 19. After these things I heard like a great sound of multitudes many, heaven, saying, Praise Salvation and honor and power are of our God, because his judgments are righteous and true, since he has judged the great whore who has ruined the earth with her fornication, and he has avenged the blood of his servants from her hand. Then they spoke a second time, Yah, that her smoke ascends for the eternal ages. And the 24 elders fell down, and the 4 living creatures, and they worshipped Yahweh who sits upon the throne, saying, Truly, praise Yah. And a voice came out from the throne, saying, Praise our God, all his servants, and fear him, small men and great men. And I heard like a sound of many multitudes, and like a sound of many waters, and like a sound of mighty thunders, saying, Yah, for Prince Yahweh, the Almighty reigns. We should be glad and rejoice, and give honor to him, because the wedding feast of the Lamb has come, and his wife has prepared herself. And it is given to her that she is wrapped in clean bright linen, for the linen is the vindications of the saints. And he says to me, Write, Blessed are those invited to the dinner of the wedding feast of the Lamb. And he says to me, These are true words from Yahweh. And I fell before his feet to worship him. And he says to me, No, look, I am your fellow servant, and of your brethren who have the testimony of Yahshua. Worship Yahweh. For the testimony of Yahshua is the spirit of interpreting prophecy. And I saw the heaven having opened, and behold, a white horse, and he sitting upon it called Faithful and True, and he judges in righteousness and makes war. Now his eyes are as flames of fire, and upon his head are many diadems, having a name inscribed which no one knows except him, and he is cloaked with a garment dipped in blood, and his name is called the Word of Yahweh. And the armies in heaven follow him upon white horses, clothed with clean white linen. And a sharp sword comes out from of his mouth, in order that with it he may smite the nations, and he shall shepherd them with an iron staff, and he shall trample the vat of the wine of the wrath of the anger of Yahweh Almighty. And he has upon his garment and upon his thigh a name written, King of Kings and Sovereign of Sovereigns. And I saw one messenger standing on the sun, and he cried out with a great voice, saying to all of the birds flying in midair, Come, gather to the great dinner of Yahweh, in order that you may eat the flesh of the kings, and the flesh of the commanders, and the flesh of the mighty, and the flesh of the horses, and of those sitting upon them, and the flesh of all, both free and slaves, and small and great. And I saw the beast and the kings of the earth, and their armies gathered to make war with him, sitting upon the horse and with his army. And he seized the beast, and with him the false prophet who had been making signs before him, by which he deceived those having received the inscribed mark of the beast, and who worshipped his image. These 2 are cast alive into the lake of fire, burning with sulfur. And those remaining were slain by the sword of him sitting upon the horse, which came from out of his mouth, and all the birds ate their fill from their flesh. Chapter 20. And I saw a messenger descending from out of heaven, having the key of the bottomless pit, and a great chain in his hand. And he held fast the dragon, that serpent of old, who is the false accuser and the adversary, and he bound him for 1,000 years, and cast him into the bottomless pit, and barred and set a seal upon it. He may no longer deceive the nations, until the 1,000 years should be completed. After these it is necessary for him to be released for a short time. And I saw thrones, and they who sat upon them, and judgment had been given to them, and the souls of those having been beheaded on account of the testimony of Yahshua, and on account of the word of Yahweh, and who did not worship the beast nor his image, and did not receive the inscribed mark upon their foreheads and upon their hands. And they lived and ruled with Christ for 1,000 years. This is the first restoration. Blessed and holy is he having a part in the first restoration. Over these the second death does not have authority. They shall be priests of Yahweh and of Christ, and they shall rule with him for the 1,000 years. And when the 1,000 years are completed, the adversary shall be released from his prison, and shall go out to deceive the nations, which are in the four corners of the earth, Gog and Magog, to gather them to battle, of which the number of them is as the sand of the sea. And they had gone up upon the breadth of the earth, and encircled the encampment of the saints, and the beloved city, and fire descended from out of heaven, and devoured them. And the false accuser, who deceived them, is cast into the lake of fire and sulfur, where are also the beast and the false prophet. And they shall be tormented day and night for the eternal ages. And I saw a great white throne, and he sitting upon it, from whose presence the earth and the heaven had fled, and a place is not found for them. And I saw the dead, the great ones and the small ones, standing before the throne. And books had been opened, and another book was opened, which is that of life. And the dead were judged from out of the things written in the books according to their works. And the sea had given over those dead who were in it, and death and Hades had given over those who were in them. And each are judged according to their works. And death and Hades are cast into the lake of fire. This is the second death, the lake of fire. And if one is not found written in the book of life, he is cast into the lake of fire. Chapter 21. And I saw a new heaven and a new earth. For the first heaven and the first earth departed, and the sea is no longer. And I saw a new holy city Jerusalem descending from out of heaven from Yahweh, having been prepared as a bride adorned for her husband. And I heard a great voice from out of the throne, saying, Behold, the tabernacle of Yahweh is with men, and he shall dwell with them, and they shall be his people. And Yahweh himself shall be with them. And he shall wipe every tear from their eyes, and death shall not be hereafter, nor grief, nor crying, nor toil, it shall be no longer. The former things have departed. And he sitting upon the throne said, Behold, I shall make all new things. And he says, Write, because these words are trustworthy and true. And he said to me, They are made. I am the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end. To he who thirsts I shall give freely from out of the fountain of the water of life. He who prevails shall inherit these things, and I shall be a God for him, and he shall be a son for me. But for the cowards, and the faithless, and abominable, and murderers, and fornicators, and drug makers, and idolaters, and all those who lie, their fate is burning in the lake in fire and sulfur, which is the second death. And one from among the 7 messengers, having the 7 bowls full of the 7 last plagues, came and spoke with me, saying, Come, I shall show to you the bride, the wife of the Lamb. And he took me away in the Spirit up to a mountain great and high, and showed to me the holy city, Jerusalem, descending from out of heaven from Yahweh, having the effulgence of Yahweh, her radiance like precious stone as jasper stone, clear as crystal, having a wall great and high, having 12 gates, and above the gates 12 messengers, and names inscribed, which are the names of the 12 tribes of the sons of Israel. From the east 3 gates, and from the north 3 gates, and from the south 3 gates, and from the west 3 gates. And the wall of the city has 12 foundations, and upon them the 12 names of the 12 ambassadors of the Lamb. And he speaking with me had a golden measuring rod, that he may measure the city, and her gates and her wall. And the city lies foursquare, and her length as great as the breadth. And he measured the city with the rod for 12,000 stades, her length and the breadth and the height are the same. And he measured her wall 140 cubits measure of a man, which is of a messenger. And the structure of her wall was jasper, and the city pure gold like pure glass, and the foundations the walls of all adorned with precious stone. The first foundation jasper, the second sapphire, the third chalcedony, the fourth emerald, the fifth sardonyx, the sixth sardius, the seventh olivine, the eighth beryl, the ninth topaz, the 10th chrysoprase, the 11th hyacinth, the 12th amethyst, and the 12 gates 12 pearls. Each one of the gates was from of one pearl, and the streets of the city pure gold, as transparent glass. And I saw no temple in her, for Prince Yahweh Almighty, her temple is also the Lamb. And the city has not need of the sun, nor of the moon, that they illuminate her. For the effulgence of Yahweh illuminates her, and her lamp is the Lamb. And the nations shall walk by her light, and the kings of the earth shall bring their honor into her, and her gates shall not be closed by day, for there shall not be night there. And they shall bring the honor and the dignity of the nations into her. And there may not enter into her anything common, and which makes an abomination and a lie, except those written in the book of life of the Lamb. Chapter 22. And he showed to me a river of water of life, bright as crystal, coming out from the throne of Yahweh and of the Lamb, in the middle of her street, and with the river on the one side, and the other is the tree of life, producing 12 fruits, yielding each its fruits by month. And the leaves of the tree are for the service of the nations, and there shall no longer be any curse. And the throne of Yahweh and of the Lamb shall be in her, and his servants shall serve him and shall face, and his name is upon their foreheads. And there shall no longer be night, and they have not need for light of a lamp, and for light of a sun, because Prince Yahweh shall shine upon them, and they shall rule for the eternal ages. And he said to me, These words are trustworthy and true, and Yahweh God of the spirits of the prophets has sent his messenger to show his servants the things which are necessary to happen shortly. And behold, I come quickly. Blessed is he keeping the words of the prophecy of this book. And it is I, Iohannes, hearing and seeing these things. And when I had heard and seen, I fell to worship before the feet of the messenger, who shows these things to me. And he says to me, No, look, I am your fellow servant, and of your brethren the prophets, and of those keeping the words of this book. Worship Yahweh. And he says to me, Do not seal the words of the prophecy of this book, for the time is near. He who is unjust must yet be unjust, and he who is filthy must ye filthy, and he who is righteous must yet practice righteousness, and he who is holy must yet be holy. Behold, I come quickly, and my reward is with me to render to each as is his work. I am the Alpha and the Omega, the first and the last, the beginning and the end. Blessed are they washing their garments, that it shall be their license to the tree of life, and they may enter into the gates, into the city. Outside are dogs and druggists, and fornicators and murderers and idolaters, and any who love and make a lie. I, Yahshua, have sent my messenger to attest these things to you for the assemblies. I am the root and the offspring of David, the bright morning star, and the Spirit and the bride say, Come. And he hearing must say, Come. And he who thirsts must come, he desiring must receive the water of life freely. I testify to each who hear the words of the prophecy of this book. If one should add to these things, upon him Yahweh shall add the plagues written in this book. And if one should take away from the words of the book of this prophecy, Yahweh shall take away his share of the things written in this book from the tree of life and from the holy city. He testifying of these things. Yea, I come quickly. Come, Prince Yahshua. The favor of Prince Yahshua is with the saints truly,